Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well tonight. You're all having a great day. This is going to be an Ethereum focused video, as I have recently discovered, at least to myself, the way that I've been reading the news, is that there seems to be a lot of extra energy flowing around Ethereum over the last couple of weeks. And of course, this is all speculation. As always, I do not know the future. I'm not an oracle. I do not have a crystal ball as much as I would like to have one. But I feel like something is brewing around Ethereum. And as I'm reading through everything, I'll obviously explain what I have been reading or what I have been thinking as I've been going through all of these things. To start it off, an important question in the crypto market is whether there will ever be a virtual currency that would replace Bitcoin in the future. The Canadian businessman Kevin O'Leary said that Bitcoin could lose its top position as the most important virtual currency and leave the place to Ethereum. This is not the first time that this has been echoed. We've heard this quintillions of times before. This has been echoed since around 2014, 2015, when I believe Ethereum finally took the #2 spot, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere around that time. Everyone kept on saying or wondering, we now have a proper #2 coin that's been in the running for quite some time. Could this coin ever usurp Bitcoin? Is it possible for Bitcoin to be knocked out of the #1 space? So let's continue on. TV show Shark Tank's O'Leary said during CNBC's Fast Money that Bitcoin has totally changed over the last 60 days. At the same time, he stated that Bitcoin is a pioneer with arrows in its back. The famous figure believes that the famous virtual currency has left the way ready for another virtual currency, in this case Ethereum, to take over. Moreover, he added that he would be worried if he would have invested in Bitcoin. Mr. Leary said, and I do quote, "The regulators aren't on board yet, and we have to wait until that happens, because at the end of the day, you need to know if it's transparent, compliant, and the regulators are on board, and then you'll see real money," end quote. Since the beginning of the year, most of the virtual currencies are operating negatively, most of them with the exception of Bitcoin, which did in December 2017, reach new all-time highs in January. After that, they entered a bear market from which it was not possible to recover, not even today, 7 months later. So I think the Ethereum being placed as not a security was a very significant moment. And I think during that day, I think the price of Ethereum only rose by 5%. Which was strange for a lot of people, not even just me. I am not said this before, I'm not a financial analyst. I do not go on CNBC. I am not one of the very important people, but a lot of people said that they were expecting a jump of at least 20 to 25% when it got this declaration, because this kind of frees Ethereum from a lot of the strongholds, if you will, when it comes to regulation. And this was kind of the moment that a lot of people thought, not that it would pass by Bitcoin, but they would have a stronger shot of doing so, that it would break free from the binds of the Bitcoin price hold, as Bitcoin moves the market back and forth. So continuing on to that same exact topic, a lot of the reason, so you may have noticed over the last at least 2 months of my videos, there's like a new trend that's kind of going around, and it's a lot of people are no longer boasting about Bitcoin. Remember, you heard such a long time that Bitcoin is digital gold, Bitcoin is a store of value. There's like a sprinkle of people you may hear this from. Not everyone is boasting about Ethereum. They're boasting about Ethereum this, Ethereum that. I got into Ethereum when this happened with Ethereum. This is definitely going to happen with Ethereum. There are a number of factors in this. So, and I'll give you my reasoning, and I will see how you feel at the end of this. So, Ethereum, first off, at the beginning of 2017 was around $8. By the end of the year, it was floating, or beginning of January, hit $1,300, $502, which is a major price increase. And this is what caused a lot of people to kind of start to realize or recognize that there was something special with Ethereum. A lot of the portion of the money, how do I say this? The reason that the price went up by so much is because a lot of other people started taking notice as well, and they started to put their ERC20 tokens or build their apps or their dApps on top of the Ethereum network. On top of this, you have the circulating supply, which at the moment is 100 million, give or take. Bitcoin, this coincides a lot when you hear people talking about why Ethereum could be great. It has to do with the amount of the circulating supply, the potential max supply, which, as Vitalik said, could possibly be 120 million. He said he has not settled on this yet, but a lot of people in the community are talking about this. And pretty much from where it is right now, you have a more or less 5 times the supply of how much Bitcoin that there is. As other coins tend to follow the price of Bitcoin, you kind of, my thoughts are kind of all jumbled up, so I'm trying to place them in order. You pretty much kind of have where we were before in price. If Bitcoin ends up going up by 10 times like it's expected to kind of go up in 2018, no one knows if this is going to happen. You potentially then have a price of Ethereum sitting around $5,000 per Ethereum from where it was last year. There are a lot of people who are really heavily into Ethereum. These are also the same exact people who are into EOS. This is why I keep telling you guys about EOS as well, who got into Ethereum when it was very low, and they have pushed their money into Ethereum, not just buying it, but also were responsible for helping to create apps and dApps and maps and slaps, whatever you want to call them, onto Ethereum and the ERC20 token network, which caused the price as well to also rise. There's also a slight shift, like I said before, in the people who were once boasting about how much they loved Bitcoin. They got into Ethereum when it was $8 as well. The price shot up to $1,300, and now this is their new child, if you will. This is the new thing that they care about, because there's a sentiment around Bitcoin that it will at some point reach, astronomical figures. But these astronomical figures can also still be had with Ethereum, as the price of Ethereum is around $400 and was $8 before and hit $1,300. A lot of people did not have the chance to get into Bitcoin when it was $8. So when they got into something that was $8 that went up to $1,300, this has led a lot of people to believe that Ethereum could be the new number one, simply because of how much more it has to actually grow. I guess that's all I kind of have to say on that topic, at least for right now. I think there's something else coming up that is probably just as significant. I'm sure you kind of all see where I'm going with this. Ethereum has a lot of room to move, and it's also kind of based on what I also have to talk about here. So, on the 19th of July, Jeremy Allaire, who is the chief executive officer and co-founder of Circle, has stated that blockchain and cryptocurrency would be as broadly adopted as the internet. He also wanted to say that blockchain technologies built by Ethereum will act as a foundation for future applications. He said, and I do quote, "One of the things that really catalyzed the cryptocurrency market last year was actually that Ethereum, in particular, kind of got to a place where you could build apps on top of it. You could issue tokens on top of it. You could create new kinds of financial contracts using the smart contracts technology," end quote. Circle recently received funding from Bitmain, the Japanese semiconductor manufacturer, and believes that both Jihan Wu and he share the same vision of furthering the use of blockchain technology. Allaire believes that new technology infrastructure can be built with blockchain technologies as the central component. Circle's website stated, "It's crypto-powered and people-centric platform, money that unites us instead of divides us, with open platforms, mindsets, and possibilities, connecting everyone everywhere so we can exchange just about anything of value. Fundamentally shape the world for the better," end quote. He stated that using blockchain, trusted network, record keeping can be improved with the fundamental beneficiaries being institutional bodies. Allaire went on to state that with a multitude of applications being built and published on the Google App Store or the iOS App Store, blockchain can play a crucial role in making the applications more engaged and easily available. To a question about the recent surge of blockchain and cryptocurrencies, he responded that Ethereum has created the biggest splash in the industry last year. He said that users could use the Ethereum platform to build applications, tokens, and financial contracts. So, the important part out of all of this is mainly kind of this. You may have noticed, I spoke a couple of months ago about people are trying to or have already built a smart contract platform on top of Bitcoin. Now, the only main thing that we constantly hear about is the Lightning Network, and I think there's maybe one other solution that is not really spoken about at all. I spoke as well about Liquid, which also no one else is talking about, but the main thing is, in order to become something that other people want to use on a daily basis, it is believed that the cryptocurrency market or the cryptocurrency space will be forwarded by a website that everyone loves or uses or needs in their life, or it is going to be an app. And the fact that Ethereum was more or less the first place that you could build these apps on top of, the fact that I think there are over like 1,500 apps built on top of it, if I'm not mistaken, if not already more. Other tokens being built on top of it. When you have a platform that you can build other things on top of, it increases the value of not only your blockchain, but also the tokens that you have on it, because the blockchain itself is then more valued, and the other people figure out that it is more valued. They start to gather the tokens for themselves, that they're trying to also get into this gold rush. Same exact thing with smart contracts. Same exact thing with Bitcoin. Again, someone was trying to make a smart contract platform. Don't remember the name of it at all. I don't know exactly how well it's faring, but this is why you hear so many times when other people are talking about the value of a blockchain or how to make a blockchain worth more. It comes down to being able to write smart contracts, because we write a lot of contracts already in real life, but when you have things that are completely automated or run on blockchain or are more secure, more tested, or more blah, 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 whatever, this kind of comes down to it as well. So part of the thing is as well, a lot of people are putting their chips onto Ethereum, the same as they are a lot of other technologies, blockchains, that also use this kind of platform, because they believe that this is kind of the future. We'll be able to do everything on top of these blockchains. It was for a while, we actually haven't heard about this for quite some time, around 2016, maybe the beginning of early 2017, it was believed that Ethereum itself would actually be the next internet, in that the same way, you know, how we use, you may open up Brave, you may open up Chrome, you may open up Firefox. It was believed that there would be some type of app that was going to be built or something on your computer that you would be able to open up Ethereum and then kind of use that as a gateway to go through all the things that you were trying to go through. Part of the main thing that got Ethereum so hyped was that people were calling it the next internet, and literally that it would be its own ecosystem where all these things could be built on top of it. And we kind of see already the beginning of this already starting to form. But the point is that a lot more people are now coming forward, and they're specifically talking about Ethereum. I told you guys before, and I know a lot of people love Bitcoin. I like Bitcoin. I don't think it's horrible. I just think there are a lot of competition out there when it comes to it right now. But you may notice within the next couple of weeks that a lot more people will be gunning on the Ethereum train and talking about exactly how great that it is, how so-and-so knows, so blah, 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 whatever people are saying. And there's something that I found, and I'm assuming more people will start talking about it in the next couple of days, because I think this is going to be what will potentially bring Ethereum further into the spotlight, because it literally all comes down to price. There are a lot of people, you know, if you could have gotten into Bitcoin when it was around this price, would you have? Especially knowing what you know now. We now have a struggle between Ethereum and Bitcoin. Bitcoin having the higher price because it's been out longer, but we now have Ethereum, who's in the number 2 spot, that you can build apps on top of it that could potentially be its own internet, that has a whole bunch of solutions that are being built for it. So it is not out of the realm of possibility. When you look for price predictions when it comes to Ethereum, it is widely believed that Ethereum could easily hit a $10,000 projection within the next year or 2 years by 2020, simply because of what it can do, especially if people are able to make the system or network faster. 10,000 per Ethereum is completely within the realm of possibility. And I'm going to tell you why. So there's something called Raiden, and Raiden hasn't been in the news for quite some time. We only hear about Casper, we hear about Plasma, and we hear about sharding. Raiden has actually been in discussion since around late 2015, early 2016. It was the kind of the end all to the Ethereum argument. People realized in 2015 that there was a problem with Bitcoin, that it was taking too long for the transactions to go through. I think, you know, when we had times with Bitcoin where we had scaling problems, or, you know, we had, I think last year we had 250,000 transactions that were backed up in the Bitcoin network. I think at one point there were like 15,000 that were backed up in Bitcoin a couple years ago, and everybody was like, oh my gosh, what's going on? This was like the major news. So Ethereum came out, and Ethereum was like, we can definitely do this. And Raiden is pretty much what Plasma is now. We constantly hear about Plasma. Raiden was the go-to solution, but there's finally news about Raiden, and this all ties into why this is all extremely significant and why we've been hearing so much about Ethereum the last couple of months. So a new test network has been launched for Raiden. The Ethereum Payments Channel Project announced at the DAppCom Developer Conference in Berlin on Thursday. The release features a minimal implementation of scaling solution that will allow Ethereum tokens to be traded on off-chain payment channels. Notably, this particular testnet will be the final one to battle test the tech before it goes live for everyday users. I'm pretty sure you can kind of see where this is going. Typically, the people who have invested millions into these projects tend to know when these scaling solutions are going to come to fruition before everybody else. So if you look at the last 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, and we've been hearing such a huge push about Ethereum and how great it is, and could it become the #1 coin, and could Ethereum do this, and I think Ethereum is going to be this, and funds being built on top of Ethereum. I'm pretty sure they've been in talks with the people who are making Raiden or any other scaling solution. They've been told that this is probably going to launch very soon, and this is why they've been pushing it to get it into people's heads that Ethereum could possibly be the #1 coin very soon. They said, if the first steps toward going to the mainnet, this was said by one of the core developers of the project. While Raiden saw a test net deployed late last year, Karapetsas said the new release is an early implementation of the mainnet release itself and features newly rewritten smart contract code and payment channels that are recoverable in the case of an accidental closure. Presenting the release at DAppCon, the name again, my gosh, Karapetsas urged developers to use the testnet to help discover any potential bugs. A bounty program will be announced to incentivize this, he added as well. He said, we really want people to really test this, so we have a user interface, we have an API, and we've created an open GitHub for everything they could find. So if we go hopefully bug-free on this mainnet, blah, 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 blah. Continuing, seeking to bypass some of the scaling hurdles faced by Ethereum and other blockchains. The release date for the implementation is not yet confirmed, but, major but here, the Raiden team plans to remain close to the original promise of a summer launch, that is this summer. They said until the end of August, it's still summer. Feature-wise, the plan is to just launch with the same features that have been on the testnet right now. Meaning, you may have put 2 and 2 together. Congratulations. We are in July right now. The end of August is typically the end of summer, depending on where you are in the world. And as of now, it could seem that we had news that we wouldn't have, Plasma and Casper until potentially around 2020. Lo and behold, it seems that Raiden may be the thing that is going to be launching for all of us. When you look around on the Raiden website, actually Raiden also has a token. I think it's called uRaiden, if I'm not mistaken. You can find it on CoinMarketCap, definitely. Go to CoinMarketCap and type in Raiden. I'm sure to be one of the first things or the only thing that's actually on it. The entire point, it seems, for Raiden is, scalable, fast, but it comes down to the micro payments. One of the main things that is, analyzers, people who analyze the cryptocurrency market say that crypto has to jump over is the thing for low payments or micro payments. I may have said this once before. I don't know how many of you guys have actually read this or seen this before, but they say you need to be able to go into a store early in the morning and buy a cup of coffee, buy a packet of gum, buy something with your cryptocurrency. And until that moment happens, there will not be any, major adoption of cryptocurrencies. I tried looking for exactly how quick Raiden was, and it kind of came down to the entire purpose of it is to be able to handle micropayments. Says it does not matter whether a transfer is sent one piece or split over thousands of micropayments. Hardly any transfer is too small to be sent efficiently over the Raiden network. This leads us to believe, or to possibly have a world where we have an Ethereum or a coin. Part of the thing is, I told you guys before in a couple other videos, we've had 5 coins that launched at the end of June, the beginning of July, who all claim that they are better than Ethereum, that they can do this, that they can do that. And when it comes down to being able to not only scale, but to be able to make payments, you have to show real world use that your network or even your side chain at this point is able to handle micropayments. If someone is buying something in a store, I don't know what costs 3 cents anywhere in the world. If you're buying something that costs 3 cents, you need to be able to pay with that through your cryptocurrency. So this seems to be the entire focus of the Raiden network. I looked for exactly how many transactions per second, and I could not find anything. If you are able to find this, kudos to you. Please post it in the comment section below, because I couldn't find anything. I searched for at least like 20 different websites, and the only thing that I was able to find, it says, so what does Raiden do? It says the reasoning behind it is quite simple. It's estimated that the Ethereum network will be capable of processing 100 million transactions per second. First off, I'm going to assume that this person typed in way too many zeros. And even then, maybe it's around like 10,000 per second or something like that. The argument is that we need to be able to process transactions faster than the Visa or MasterCard network. in order to be viable for real world use. I could not find an exact number anywhere for what or rather how quick the rated network is as far as transactions per second. But it seems that, how does the saying go? It's like, I don't remember. It has something to do with like when people are saying something, especially like very important people, try to pay attention to what they're saying because they usually say it in code. I think there's a reason why we've been kind of hearing all these really rich people who were pushing so hard for Bitcoin before, saying that they still love Bitcoin, but now they're looking more into Ethereum because it seems a lot more promising. This is why we also had news a day or two ago about central bank currencies also looking to be built on top of the Ethereum network. It kind of all makes sense when you really, I guess, tie everything together. But this kind of seems to be, at least for me, what's going on. Like I said, this is all speculation. None of this is actually what's going to happen, or potentially maybe not what's going to happen. I look at the news, I kind of put everything together and see how well that it fits. And this seems to be a good indicator. We've heard so much over the last couple of months about from all these major people how Ethereum is going to be number one, could be number one, could potentially be number one. There's a lot of people who believe in the flippening, that it is going to happen. As far as even for like an uptrend in price, Ethereum seems like it is going to. So when the next market jump happens, it is widely believed that should Bitcoin do an 8x or a 10x, that Ethereum would be able to do a 10x in the same amount of time because of not only hype, but the higher the Ethereum price goes, the more people are actually buying the tokens as well. The scarcer it becomes and the more people start to build their apps or dApps on top of the Ethereum platform. We've had news as well that a lot of people are also moving away from Ethereum. They're moving to Cardano. They're moving to EOS. They're moving to Stellar, if I'm not mistaken. So, whatever. But Ethereum is still a major project and there's a lot of money backing it. There's actually billions of dollars. There's also the Ethereum Alliance, a group of people who have proclaimed that they are going to build or use the Ethereum network and or blockchain, whether that be to build their own apps or dApps or coins or tokens on top of it or ERC20 tokens. But they have said that they're all planning on using this. So like I said, this is all speculation, but this seems to be exactly what it is. I would not be surprised if by, let's say, October, if the Ethereum price has moved up significantly, because if we have a scaling solution that is going to allow for micropayments. I don't know exactly how quick it's going to be. I'm going to assume, logically, let's say on a conservative note, if Plasma and sharding are going to allow Ethereum to do 100,000 and 1 million transactions, combined or together, whatever the case might be, I'm going to say that Raiden will probably allow for at least 500 transactions per second, at least. I don't know exactly if it's just one Raiden chain, if there are going to be child chains as well, sprinkled around the Ethereum network. This could potentially then lead us to a world where we have or are able to do anywhere from 10,000 to 50,000 transactions per second, which would be great news. Like I said, I haven't heard a lot of news about Raiden for quite some time. I'm assuming other people will be looking more further into this as the weeks go on, or we start to get more news about it. But we have now until the end of summer. This is the final test net before it goes live for everyday users. This is very important because it usually takes a couple of test nets to make sure they worked out all the kinks. The fact that they are or have announced this on Thursday means that they are relatively close to doing this. So this is why they're trying to, create the bug bounty and stuff like that. I have high hopes for Ethereum. It's definitely one of my favorite projects. I don't have as many as I wish I did. It would be nice if I actually had a lot of them. The point is that I, for quite some time, have thought, and I've said this in other videos as well, that Ethereum is probably going to be the number one coin. It doesn't take a lot. Let me see if I can reload this very quick. It doesn't take a huge push for, the market's down a little bit again. Doesn't take a huge push for this to actually, if we have a proper solution and proper hype around this, or if we have proper news that Russia is going to be using this like we had before, or some central bank has announced that they're going to be building on top of Ethereum, or we have a proper scaling solution such as Raiden, it doesn't take a lot for this to really pump up the number one price. Anyway, the point is, this is just the stuff that I found. Just kind of wanted to talk about it, just something to think about. There's always a lot going on in the cryptocurrency space. We kind of get lost a lot of times in all the news. But it'll be interesting to see if by the end of the summer, if Raiden actually ends up launching, how well it can do. Because like I said before, this was like the go-to solution for quite some time when it came to Ethereum. All right, everyone, I'm done rambling. Hope you guys have a great day. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you once again for all the support. Tell me what you think. Tell me if you think that Ethereum can ever be number one. I've seen some discussions before. A lot of people don't think it, but I mean, it's kind of obvious. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility for Ethereum to be the number one coin. Like, it's just not. It's not that far off from Bitcoin. It has a lot of support. The volume every single day is relatively high, even if the price is going down right now. Just kind of what I think. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will talk to you all soon. See you.